Howdy, 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 my name's Anachi Sasuke, and welcome back to Let's Read the SCP Foundation Wiki. In the last episode, we did the Helmet of Disturbing Images that draws you into the book, the soup, this thing, and the Bloodthirsty Nail Polish. Also, the Inky Quicksand. Did I count wrong? No, yeah, the helmet didn't happen last episode. We started with the draws you into the book. I'm dumb. And this one, we're going to be starting with Tinkerbug, Accountant's Coin, and then Charity Worms, marked an Expunge Data Release, which is probably going to be useless or weird. Let's check out the Tinkerbug. It's Euclid. I don't like looking at it. Radnor, Pennsylvania. Is that an actual place? Colonies of SCP-831 are to be contained in an observation chamber with ceiling, walls, and floor having Vickers hardness of at least 1,000 kilograms per millimeter squared? The containment chamber is to be regularly inspected. Any damage, even a scratch on the floor, is to be reported in accordance with Procedure 831-C. Nutrients introduced into the chamber are to be poured on the floor and not contained in any kind of vessel. Personnel entering the chamber for any reason are to be equipped with Class T armor and subject to thorough inspection before and after entry to ensure that no foreign objects are introduced into this chamber, nor are any specimens of 831 inadvertently removed from the chamber. Populations of colonies of 831 and containment are not to exceed the limits prescribed in document 8312155-AE. Nutrients are to be withheld and specimens are to be destroyed as necessary to keep the colony populations within these limits. Colonies of 831 encountered outside of Foundation containment are to be immediately eradicated. Individual organisms of 831 can be easily exterminated by fire, crushing, asphyxiation, or many other methods. However, sufficiently advanced colonies can be expected to have constructed defense mechanisms. After eradication, objects found in the colony's location are to be brought to Site-36 or Site-181 for analysis. Alright? SCP-831 is a species of tool-using insect-like organism superficially resembling wingless worker caste Reticulatermes flavipes. The heck is that? Please give me the name, I don't need more pictures. What is it? Oh, native subterranean termites. Alright. Why didn't you just say that? 'Cause science! Colonies of 831 have been collected or eradicated in 11 locations in eastern and central North America to date, and locations ranging from Texas to Ontario. The organisms appear to be capable of feeding on most organic material, with a preference for cellulose and sugars. So they coming for that booty. Mature specimens range from 7 millimeters to 1.2 centimeters in length. Individual specimens appear to have a lifespan of 25 to 40 days. Unlike true termites, 831 does not appear to be divided into castes with distinct morphology. All specimens are essentially workers, and all females are capable of breeding with an extremely short gestation period. 831 is a highly social organism and is found in colonies. The upper bound of the colony size is not yet known. The largest colony investigated by the Foundation to date consisted of at least 8 million individual organisms. Individual organisms of 831 do not exhibit intelligence beyond simple survival instincts. The colonies of 831 that have been identified to date were located in or originated in dark, enclosed urban locations affording shelter, access to nourishment, water, and materials appropriate for the construction of 831's tools. In most cases, the colony was discovered in the basement, attic, or walls of a home or other structure. If a colony is located within a structure, the colony will not consume the wall's cellulose to an extent that would compromise the structure's appearance or structural integrity. The organisms flee from light, and their behavior suggests an instinct to avoid detection or observation by humans or predators. Colonies of 831 construct and use tools from available materials, rapidly bootstrapping from simpler tools to more complex tools. See Site-36 observation log below. What is this? On the first day, at, I guess, midnight? Commencement of observation of chamber containing approximately 1,000 specimens of 831. The chamber is airtight, consisting of painted steel walls, floor, and ceiling, 18 centimeters thickness, and C8 rated observation window. The chamber is unfurnished except for commode, 3 steel buckets respectively containing pulp, wood pulp, sucrose solution, and water. At 1:08 in the afternoon, personnel disposable 334 enters the chamber to top off the contents of the steel buckets. Prior to this time, the specimens had not engaged in activity other than feeding on wood pulp and sucrose solution and breeding. Disposable 334 inadvertently fails to retrieve a steel paperclip that falls from her shirt pocket while refilling the buckets. 1 minute later, a number of specimens advance toward the paperclip, then carry it to a corner of the room where they commence altering it. The paperclip is repurposed as a scraping implement. The specimens commence scraping the floor and walls of the chamber and retrieving metal and paint filings. 10 hours later, the scrapings result in a small pile of metal filings no more than 10 grams. Half an hour later, due to reproduction, the chamber observed to contain approximately 2,500 live specimens of 831. 4 p.m. the next day, the size of the piling of metal filings estimated at approximately 400 grams. The paint chips and scrapings are accumulated in separate piles. Some specimens of 831 observed to engage in mastication of metal scrapings and paint scrapings. I'm not sure what that means. Let's find out what that means. I know I've seen the word, but... Chewing, okay. Why didn't they just say chewing? Science. Chamber observed to contain approximately 5,000 live specimens. Pile of scrapings. It looks like they just check every day at midnight to see how many of them there are, and it just seems to be like a little over doubling every day. The pile of scrapings is 11 centimeters in height. Metal scrapings have been moved to the interior of the pile of paint. The paint scrapings continue to increase in size as the specimens continue to transport metal and paint fragments to it. Activity in the interior of the pile of paint scrapings is unobservable, but thermal imaging indicates the presence of a heat source within, presumably friction or body metabolism of 831. Due to reproduction, by day 4 there's 12,000 of them, excluding any that may be obscured from view in the interior of the pile. Disposable 334 enters the observation chamber at the direction of Dr. Garcia and intentionally scatters the pile of paint and metal scrapings. The pile is observed to contain at least 1,000 specimens of 831 and 11 metal objects, some of which are similar to the original scraping implement and some of which resemble picks and chisels. One of these instruments is retrieved. Analysis shows that the instrument, a sharp metal cone approximately 1 centimeter in length, 1 millimeter maximum diameter, is composed of the same metal as the metal floor scrapings. Specimens began to chip ceramic from commode and observation chamber using previously documented instruments. The chamber is observed to contain approximately 22,000 live specimens by day 5. The pile of paint scrapings has been reconstructed. Day 6, 40,000 of them. On day 6 at 1:23 in the afternoon, there was a containment breach of data expunged at Site 36 that interferes with the observation for 112 minutes. Upon recommencement of the observation, the steel buckets and the commode in the chamber are missing. Dr. Garcia directs that from this point forward, wood pulp, water, and sugar solution that are introduced to the containment chamber are to be piled on the floor rather than contained in a vessel. Day 7, 100,000 of them. 11 o'clock in the morning on day 7, disposable 334 enters the observation chamber at the direction of Dr. Garcia and intentionally scatters the pile. The pile is observed to contain a rudimentary crucible, a small mechanism resembling a lathe, and other objects of indeterminate function. There are several deep holes bored into the floor of the chamber. Dr. Garcia orders the reinforcement of the ceiling, walls, and floor of the chamber with additional layers of steel and concrete. Day 8, there are 240,000 of them. The containment chamber contains several mounds of varying sizes consisting of scrapings and the bodies of living and dead specimens. Day 9, number of specimens in chamber is sufficient to fill the chamber to a depth of approximately 2 centimeters, although the specimens are unevenly distributed. Although observation of the colony's implements is problematic due to the number of specimens, there is evidence of a number of crucibles and forges calibrated for different temperatures, a number of lathes in various sizes, and taps and dies. The chamber also contains a spool of approximately 40 meters of narrow-gauge steel wire. The specimen construct bellows, gas-blowing equipment, and several objects of unknown function. Day 10, there are 400,000 of them. At 3 o'clock in the morning on day 10, disposable 334 enters the chamber at the direction and intentionally attempts to disturb large amount of specimens with a wooden rod. The apparatus is referenced in day 9 to 5:30, 15:30 are demonstrated to be air guns with flechette-shaped ammunition. 334 is struck several times in the head and neck and collapses, following which specimens swarm over 334. Dr. Garcia directs that the body remain in the chamber and that the delivery of wood pulp, sucrose solution, and water cease. Electrical failure in observation chamber deactivates lighting and prevents observation for approximately 35 minutes. About half an hour later, there are 600,000 of them. When the lights come back on, the body is gone. A textile blanket, apparently constructed of human hair and fibers from their uniform, covers several mounds within the observation chamber, obscuring them from view. Personnel, disposable 118 and 536, enter the chamber at the direction of Dr. Garcia with instructions to remove the blanket. They are wearing body armor. 118 suffers painful electrical shock upon touching the blanket and retreats. 536 successfully removes the blanket and both personnel leave the chamber. The colony is observed at this point to have constructed numerous items of glassware, several basins filled with various liquids and solid matter, several inflated bladders containing unknown gases, objects resembling machine tools, and various other objects of indeterminate function. The specimens appear to be engaged in the construction of lens grinding and chemical refining equipment. The blanket, upon analysis, contained concealed wiring and small batteries. Foundation personnel are investigating how batteries of that size would generate the observed voltage. Lighting fails in the observation chamber. Subsequent analysis shows that the lighting failed due to an electrical short generated from within the chamber. They made an EMP. Brilliant. Observation is prevented for approximately 18 minutes. Number of specimens within the chamber is stabilized at approximately 800,000. Upon restoration of lighting, much of the colony is obscured from view by an igloo-shaped ceramic shell. Thermal analysis indicates that the colony has constructed a number of internal combustion engines running on unknown fuel. Analysis of objects within the chamber indicates that several objects within the chamber of indeterminate function are composed of alloys containing copper, zinc, tin, nickel, and lead, which are not present in the chamber's walls, but which may have been found in electrical wiring and piping in the facility, or which may have been on 334's person. Dr. Garcia directs additional reinforcement of the chamber's integrity and extermination of any specimens of 831 found outside the chamber. Personnel Disposable 54, wearing body armor and appropriately equipped, enters chamber with sledgehammer at direction of Dr. Garcia with directions to break ceramic shell and expose its contents. They are attacked by several fast-moving flying objects and retreat without damaging the shell. They are also struck by several flechettes which fail to penetrate the armor. Upon analysis, the flechettes are found to be coated with a corrosive substance containing unknown enzymes. Lighting in the chamber fails again for 22 minutes, apparently due to an EMP generated from the interior of the chamber. When lighting is restored, observation is obscured due to the application of an opaque lacquer-like coating to the interior of the observation window. Disposable 33, wearing body armor and appropriately equipped, enters the chamber with directions to scrape the coating from the window. They are advised not to touch the ceramic shell. Approximately 3 minutes after entering the chamber, they are immobilized by a flypaper-like substance and anesthetized, apparently by means of intravenous injection. Before observation is again obscured by reapplication of the coating, apparently by means of a sprayer located above the observation window. Observation indicates that the specimens are engaged in the purification of wafer-grade silicone and the construction of complex electronics. Radio signals emanating from within the chamber are detected and recorded. Day 13, 1110, data expunged. Lighting fails again. Specimens are in the process of applying an opaque light and sound insulating gel to the observation window when Dr. Garcia orders the termination of observations due to concerns that 831 may have escaped containment. Specimens in the chamber are asphyxiated and remains incinerated. Remainder of Site 36 inspected and specimens of 831 found in adjacent chamber isolated. Objects found in the containment chamber are undergoing analysis. These objects include, among many other objects of indeterminate function, the ceramic shell, a hole boring machine with carbide drill bits, a number of vacuum tubes, a motor rated at approximately 55,000 watts, an argon gain medium, precision lenses, and other laser components, several hexagonal printed wire boards with chemically etched circuitry, glass vessels of various substances containing nitroglycerin, acetone, F-MOC-D alanine, and 5-amino-1H tetrazole, an apparatus apparently used to synthesize crystals, a cyclotron, an apparatus resembling a microwave telecommunications broadcasting tower with a broadcasting antenna pointing upward. The chamber is evacuated except for the installation of a microwave receiver in the chamber tuned to the same signal as a presumed broadcasting tower. Remains of 334 and 33 are not recovered, but DNA analysis identifies that many of the objects in the room are composed in part from their remains. Microwave receiver in chamber receives signals from an unknown source. Signal was recorded and is undergoing analysis. Here's another one of those more by this author things. Spike Brennan's proposal. This has to be a new thing, because this is the second time I've ever seen it, and I've been doing these for like almost 2 years now. Also, that was just a really long entry right there. Let's check out the accountant's coin, which is safe and strange looking. SCP-832 is to be contained in an electronically locked safe that is 0.25 meters cubed in size. The safe is to be placed in a room that is monitored by CCTV at all times. Level 3 clearance or higher is required to access the safe, and all activity is logged. Any personnel handling 832 must either do so remotely or wear gloves to avoid direct contact if they are not actively experimenting with it, and any loose change on their person will be confiscated prior to entering containment. If 832 breaches containment in any way, any personnel found handling US half dollars in Site 19 will be referred to security and held there until it can be determined that he or she is not handling 832. Due to this, personnel are discouraged from using US half dollars in their transactions at Site-19. Description: A32 appears to be a US half dollar minted in 1966. Closer analysis has revealed that it is composed of an alloy consistent with half dollars minted at the time. When a subject comes in a direct physical contact with it, the subject gains the ability to recite exactly how much money they have at any given time, even if asked for the amount in a form that they are not storing it in. Subjects so far have demonstrated the ability to calculate their wealth in foreign currencies, the value of purchased items, stock value for any given company, the weight of any substance, natural or artificial. The subject also becomes more careful with their assets, attempting to reduce their expenses and maximize their income wherever possible. In addition, they are more emotionally sensitive to changes in their financial status, both positive and negative. Addendum: several experiments regarding the effects of A32 have been performed. Logs from these experiments can be found below. Okay. I'll read a couple of them, but I feel like I don't need to read all of them. Subject is given A32 and asked to recite their total financial assets in US dollars, euros, and yen. Upon further review, all answers are found to be correct. The subject is asked to place A32 back into its safe. They refuse, claiming that every cent is precious. They are assured that he will be given the equivalent amount immediately after placing A32 back into containment. They refuse again. A32 is then forcibly removed from the subject's possession, after which he begins to panic and becomes aggravated. Testing halted pending psychological review. Upon completion of further experiments, some story must be created to encourage subjects to place it back into containment. This test demonstrates some precognition in its effects. The subject is given A32 and shown a lottery ticket purchased by researcher blank. The subject is asked the value of the ticket, which he claims to be $15. The subject is told that the electronic safe is his bank, and he places A32 back in the safe, closing it. After playing the ticket properly, researcher wins $15. Huh. Subject given both that and an ordinary half dollar, asked for the value of both objects. They state the value of the half dollar to be 50 cents and the value of SCP-832 to be impossible to quantify. Subject would not go into further detail when asked. Okie dokie. Might as well keep reading them at this point. Subject is given 832. Subject asks the current value of her checking account, and the correct value is given. The checking account is accessed from an offsite ATM, and $200 are withdrawn from it. Immediately after the money is retrieved, the subject shows visible signs of agitation. Asked to recite the balance again, and the correct number is given. The account is then emptied of funds from the same offsite ATM. They begin to panic and grieves over the loss of the funds. When the money is deposited back to the account, they gradually recover. The offsite researcher was contacted by police after this test due to suspicious use of the subject's account. No charges were filed, but all personnel were advised not to perform a similar test with the offsite ATM again. Subject given 832. Asked to quantify the balance in his savings account in terms of blank, the form of currency used in the online game blank blank. The subject is visibly shaken and remains silent for approximately 30 seconds before stating that he cannot quantify his wealth in those terms. Subject given an account for the online game blank blank and is asked to quantify his wealth in blank again. They immediately state the current amount of virtual wealth in his account. Note, the effect of 5/8 was likely caused because they have no consistent conversion rate to real currency. While exchange between blank and the real currency does occur, it is technically against blank blank's terms of service and there is no set price. Once the subject had wealth in that form, however, 832 was able to measure it. Experiment 6. Subject given 832 and shown to a room heated to 1100 degrees Celsius. A penny is tossed into the room and the subject immediately follows. They die due to the extreme heat. When the room is cooled, the penny has melted, but 832 remains undamaged. Huh. Okay, next up is the charity worms. Euclid. 833 is to be contained in Site-21 for following Standard Class 2 biohazard procedures. As a precautionary measure, Site-21 does not have a cafeteria, and all personnel located are to eat only the meals delivered from Site-19. Employees of Level 1 or higher may request additional or alternative rations via the facility's director. All on-site personnel are instructed to report severe nausea, diarrhea, or muscle pain to site medical staff immediately. In the event of confirmed infestation, the victim will be treated with an aggressive course of anthelmintic drugs. Civilian outbreaks of 833 are to be treated similarly, but the civilians are to be quarantined for the duration of treatment. Should the drug regimen prove ineffective, termination of affected personnel and civilians is authorized. 833 is a parasitic nematode of the genus Trichinella, often capable of infesting humans. Infestation by 833 has symptoms similar to a mild case of this, often including initial intestinal distress followed by muscle pain and a fever about a week after infection. Symptoms fade after about 3 weeks. In many cases, infestation is asymptomatic. As with all varieties of that, the disease is spread by the consumption of tainted meat. It is highly heat resistant, but responds favorably to tested vermicides, especially albendazole. Albendazole? Whatever. What sets 833 apart from most mundane members of Trichinella is that in all infections, a small portion of the worms colonize the central nervous system. Surprisingly, in almost all cases, this does not damage the nervous system. The remaining larvae encysst themselves throughout the hypodermis. The larvae encysted in the central nervous system secrete a compound that in most cases has two effects. First, it leads to a marked increase in altruism. Victims of 833 are generally described as becoming kinder and noticeably more generous. Secondly, victims gain the conviction that their tissues are extremely delicious, nutritious, or pure. Due to the increase in altruism, the host will try to help others by feeding them pieces of his or her own flesh. Because hosts do not lose their self-preservation instinct, they will generally not severely injure themselves to fulfill this compulsion. Similarly, they retain awareness of social taboos against cannibalism and usually act in secret. Victims will typically resist urges induced by 833 for some time before finally giving in. 833 came to the attention of the Foundation during a raid on a cult in blank blank that was suspected of being connected to SCP blank. An unknown member of Trichinella, later designated 833, was found in the system of the surviving cult members who were then terminated. Addendum 3. On blank blank blank, an experiment was conducted in which disposable 40,023, who was noted to be violently psychotic, was exposed to 833 to see how he was affected by the psychological elements of the infestation. When the subject recovered from the acute symptoms of infection, they were placed in a room with disposable 9182. Neither subject was informed of the psychological effects of 833. After a short while, they fashioned an improvised knife from some furniture and began to slice off his own fingers in an attempt to force-feed them to 9182. Security personnel entered to restrain 40,023, who responded violently. They were terminated, and 9182 was inadvertently killed in the struggle. Security was reprimanded, and object class upgraded to Euclid. Addendum 16. Excerpt from an interview with Mrs. Blankety Blank, who was found to have been a host for 833 for an estimated 12 years, during which she infested most of her hometown of blank blank blank. She and the rest of the town were later successfully treated by the standard drug regimen and given Class B amnestics. Start of excerpt. What were you doing? What you were doing didn't feel in any way wrong to you? Not really. It was a relief, honestly. How so? Helping people is something I wanted to do for its own sake. Through giving of myself in secret, I knew that I was not acting out of selfish motives. I knew that I really was a good person. The pain was nothing to that knowledge. That's why you also donated your kidney. Yes, but that was somehow less satisfying. I think it lacked the personal touch. There's nothing like seeing the kids' eyes light up when they see a fresh-baked pan of brownies, you know? Ma'am, did you read the document we gave you when we took you into custody? I did. It was quite interesting indeed. Do you feel any differently about your actions after reading it? Why should I? I'm a better person now, and I thank God for creating such a creature to show me how to walk in his ways. I don't understand how you don't see the beauty of this. She fed bits of herself to her children with brownies. That's terrible. Marked. Object class anomalous? Hello everyone, I'm SCP-834 applier. Let's see. SCP-834 is, well, it used to say, is to be kept in a basic containment locker at Site-31. It has been moved into an unnamed safe containment locker by order of 0513. Now it says, is to remain locked in containment locker Alpha-12. When being tested, disposable dudes upon which it is used are to be kept in a standard containment cell for the duration of testing, and are exempt from monthly terminations until the effects can be ascertained. Of course it's the factory. Why? Why would it be the factory? But the fact that it leads to the factory hub, I don't think I've seen that happen yet. I can only assume I have this bookmarked. I don't. I don't. I'm going to bookmark that right now. Like, right now. Video information. Do that. Okay. Cool. 834 is a set of 4 markers, black, red, yellow, and blue. Each marker bears only a The Factory logo, and no other discerning characteristics. He used to say the only effect of these markers is that they write permanently on human skin, resulting in tattoo-like markings. Testing has proven the ink sinks below the surface of the skin and is only removable via laser dermabrasion or similar tattoo removal procedure. Now it says the addendum. On February the 7th, 2000-something, junior researchers Lilens appropriated 834 under the pretense of testing it further, but in actuality used it on themselves. When discovered, a decision was made by 0513 to have the item removed to a more secure area, as well as to demote the researchers to janitorial staff for 3 weeks. Dr. L had been given a brand of barbed wire around his wrist, while researcher Blank opted for a depiction of reptilian scales on his chest to, in his words, reveal my inner dragon. Both researchers are currently denied access to casual testing of any SCPs. Note, even if they are only anonymous, SCPs are not toys. Site Supervisor knocked. Venom 2. On August the 2000-something, screams were heard from Dr. L's office. Security investigating found Dr. L on the floor of his office bleeding heavily from self-inflicted wounds at his wrist. Dr. L claimed the wounds were inflicted when he tried to remove the tattoo after it began constricting on his wrist. Medical investigation showed that the only damage was that inflicted by Dr. L digging at his skin with his own fingers. There was no sign of his tattoo. Shortly after, acting on orders from site director, a security team broke down the door of researcher Blank's living quarters after he failed to answer his personal phone and site pages. Researcher Blank's corpse was found in his bathroom. His chest burst open from the inside as if by a great pressure. Further medical investigation revealed that all the major organs of his chest were missing, but no other damage. A trail of bloody claw prints led to the shower drain, which had been ripped away. A full exploration and cleaning of the site's drainage and sewage system turns up nothing unusual. Well, that guy's a dragon now. Cool. It had been a while. It'd been a while since we got something from the factory. I knew it was coming. Every time something really, really, really weird happened, I was like, is it going to be from the factory? But it didn't happen. And then, marked by the factory, turning into dragons. It's a Keter class. Wait, what is this? Expunge data released. Of course it's Keter. Of course it's Keter. Of course it's Keter. So, SCP-835 is to be monitored and checked daily for new growth. In the event 835 becomes hostile, suppression tactic AA6 is to be immediately implemented until aggressive action ceases. Containment area must be maintained in open ocean due to the highly aggressive response of 835 to confinement for any length of time. Waste issued by 835 must be immediately collected and contained. Feeding of it is to take place twice daily to consist data expunged. 835 may be moved to a new location twice yearly, provided that the current location is no longer capable of supporting it and the move has been approved by Site Command. Staff are to remain at least 5 meters away from it. Anyone working near it must have safety lines attached to recall winches. Contact with it will result in the immediate recall of all staff and implementation of suppression tactic AA6. Should contact result in full capture of a staff member, it is to be monitored constantly until the release of the subject. So, SCP-835 appears to be a large mass of coral-like polyps weighing blank 1,000 tons. The individual polyps are larger than any known coral species, growing to more than 1 meter in diameter in some cases. The central mass is roughly oval-shaped with a very large 3-meter diameter polyp at each end. It is incapable of locomotion and appears to anchor itself with the large tentacles projected from the polyps. These are also used in feeding and are coated with a sticky adhesive substance. The tentacles are also quite strong and have been shown to be capable of damaging plate steel. The coral of 835 is extremely hard, requiring high-powered diamond drills to collect even small samples. 835 also grows at a very accelerated rate, capable of adding 50 pounds of mass every day. It is susceptible to many chemicals which cause it to seal up and halt all growth for 24 hours, prompting the development and use of suppression tactic AA6. Testing has shown data expunged. 835 emits a large mass of semi-liquid material several times a day from the large polyps on each end. This appears to be made of semi-digested solids, fecal matter, and semen. This mass also has several forms of virus, bacteria, and parasites, many of which have been found only within 835. The bacterium 835I5 forms the major concern for containment due to data expunged. This, coupled with the extremely hard shell, form a major obstacle to neutralization. Any force capable of cracking open 835 would also cause the slurry inside to spread and cause additional infection from 835I5, which is a separate tale. Let's open that just to see how long it is. It's not. I'm gonna save this. Just click that. Okay. Addendum 1. First draft of after-action report by Mole Task Force Zeta 9er. Circumstances of retrieval. On blank 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 at blank 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 hours, Mobile Task Force Zeta 9er mole rats conducted an investigation of 835. At this time, it had a mass of only 4 tons and only one large polyp at the north end of the structure, designated Polyp Alpha. Polyp Bravo had not yet been in existence. As per standard procedure, 4 team members were chosen for the initial investigation. Standard isolation suits underwater variant were worn by all 4 team members. Lieutenant C took point as team leader, Sergeants L and M served as support, Corporal H, a rookie team member, accompanied the team as an observer. A standard underwater remote vehicle, or URV, was used for initial investigation. SCP-835 did not at first act in a hostile manner towards the team, allowing team members to approach and make contact without incident. URV-1 was sent to investigate the exterior of the object, while team members C, L, and M proceeded towards what they believed to be the entrance of the site. Corporal H was ordered to remain outside and to monitor URV-1 in order to ensure that the device's tether did not become tangled on the exterior protrusions. The first sign of trouble occurred when Corporal H, while attempting to clear a jam in IRV-1's sampling claw, reported in with the words, "Oh God, help me! Help me!" He then reported that some horrible tentacle thing had wrapped around his arm and was dragging him in towards a fucking mouth, and vocalized several distress calls. "Jesus Christ, I can't do this! Fuck! God damn it! He was just a kid! It was his first fucking mission, I should have kept my eye on him!" Christ, alright, here goes. Because I'll just let Sarge edit this for me, again. So the thing grabbed the kid, it had me full to rights. The entrance wasn't an entrance, it was just some cave. The real entrance was the big polyp thing on the north end. It grabbed the kid and started dragging him towards the mouth. Topside started to drag him up, but all they got was a snapped cable, and the kid, he got pulled inside and eaten. They didn't expunge. I got the carbiner on, we're hooked together, and Topside starts winching us up. And we're not getting anywhere. I'm grabbing on, telling him I'm not going to let go, and the winch starts to seize up, and I feel this jerk on the tether, and it goes slack, and then we're both sliding into that damn thing. It was like, Jesus, I need another drink. Fuck. It was like, the only way I can think of it was like, you know that thing that doctors do when they stick a tube up someone's ass and look at the inside of their intestines? I saw that on TV once. It was like that, except I was going down the throat of some horrible underwater hell monster, not at some poor bastard's rear. There were these muscular contractions, I guess, and they were slowly sliding us down the length of the tube. If we weren't wearing the hard suits, we'd have been crushed, but as it was, we were held so tight we could barely move, even with power assist. I managed to get my head up enough to see the kid's face. His faceplate was covered in vomit. Poor bastard had puked in his suit. I started yelling for him, trying to get him to say something. He managed to tell me he was alright. He was sobbing like a baby. I started doing some calculations. Based on my dead reckoning tracker and initial sonar scans, we were moving about a meter every minute. That meant 72 hours until we came out the other side, assuming we did. We had the air. Our rebreathers could keep going for days. What we didn't have was the power to keep the suits warm for that long. If the heat went out, hypothermia would kill us. I don't know, look it up. In any case, we'd be dead. We needed to conserve power. I told the kid to turn off his helmet lights, lock his joints, and turn down his heater to minimal. He started crying. He didn't want to do it. I didn't blame him, but I told him we had no choice. We finally agreed to shut down everything but our internal helmet lights at least. It seemed to calm him down, and honestly, that extra 0.1% power wouldn't make a difference. I think that was the worst part. We spent at least a day like that, locked in our suits. Couldn't move our arms and legs. No sound but this thing's gurgling and your own breathing and the sound of your rebreather. The puke on the kid's faceplate started to dry up and flake off about an hour or so in so I could see his face. He looked tired and scared. Check the log, Sarge. I think it was about 13 hours in when the kid started talking again. Kid started babbling. Data expunged. Anyway, after that he calmed down a lot. I told him to take a nap. He slept a bit, thank God. After about 24 hours in, we reached... I guess they're calling it the stomach now? First warning sign was a kind of gurgling noise, louder, with a crunching noise over it. I told the kid to bring his suit up to full power and get ready. A little while after, we fell out into this big chamber. Big as in, big enough for the two of us to fit in it comfortably, which was huge compared to the tight squeeze of the tube. Kid's suit started hissing and the outer shell started to turn all pitted and stuff, and I noticed my gloves were starting to degrade too, so I yelled at him to move, and we started heading toward this sphincter, I guess? I remember... God, why can I remember this? The insides of the stomach were lined with data expunged. I almost lost it there. Data expunged, I'd stayed. My suit would have melted and I'd be dead, but the kid grabbed me and shoved me headfirst through the sphincter and we fell into the other place. It was even worse than the stomach. Data expunged. This place was, well, you know what it was full of. I'm not squeamish, Bill, but you can't be if you're a mole rat, but this place squicked me out so bad I almost passed out. The kid helped me back up to my feet, though. Told me we were almost out. Come on, Lieutenant, we're almost out of here, let's go! He said, move me over to the other sphincter, but this thing was well, it was puckered up tighter than my drill sergeant's asshole back in basic. So no way we were getting out of there. We decided to wait a bit until the thing shot its load, so to speak. Blank, 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 but blank, 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 blank. Anyway, that's when things started to go bad. Data expunge, I managed to wrestle the thing blank, 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 blank through the sphincter into the stomach. Its tentacles writhed at me as it started to melt. Data expunged. Then 835 blew its load and I flew out its ass into the ocean. You know the rest of the story, Bill. Data expunged. So yeah, fill out the rest of the reports and the logs for me, will ya? Oh, and be sure to edit it so the motherfuckers in command don't yell at me for being unprofessional in my AARs again. I'm going to finish off my drink and take a couple of Valium and go to bed. Data expunged. Thanks. By special order of 0511, all expunged data files pertaining to this report are hereby released for general viewing. Please see the revised file here. By special order, all expunged data files pertaining to this report are hereby released for general viewing. Please see revised after action report here. So. Okay, looks like those are two separate pages. So let me open this one in a separate page and then click this. Alright, notice from the Foundation Records and Information Security. This document requires level 4 clearance and authorization for Need to Know under Code Triton Victor Blue. If you do not possess the necessary security clearances, please close this document immediately and report the security breach to the Records and Information Security Administration. Thank you, Maria Jones, Director Reza. Okay, Keter. I guess the blue stuff is the stuff that was edited out. To consist, okay, the feeding should consist of any form of local aquatic species. Feeding should be supervised at all times, and no unscheduled feedings of A35 are to take place for any reason. Should it enter a rage state, higher level mammals may be issued as a food supply up to and including Homo sapiens. A35 has shown high levels of docility when digesting higher level mammalian life, and a recommendation for the issue of this form of food has been approved for use during testing phases. See. Testing has shown that it appears to be made from basic human biological components, with the shell being formed from super dense calcium, the caps that cover the polyps coated with tooth enamel, and the tentacles appearing to be formed from mutated tongue cells. Most human biological systems are present, however many neurological, lymphatic, circulatory, etc. show extreme mutation and atrophy. The digestive and reproductive systems appear both highly developed and linked, with both feces and semen being collected and ejected from the same chamber. Okay. The bacterium forms the major concern for containment due to its role in the reproductive cycle of A35. Vertebrate animals infected with I5 will undergo the following symptoms: increased weight gain, constant hunger, urge to consume normally unpleasant, unpalatable items, hardening, calcification of the skin, formation of polyps on the skin, rapid reduction in intelligence and mobility, increased aggression, urge to enter seawater, and atrophy of many biological systems. End-stage infection appears to convert the subject into an additional instance of 835. Attempts to determine what, if any, intelligence remains have been inconclusive. However, 835 appears to have a limited amount of awareness. I5 has shown a very high infectivity rate, with 68% of all infected subjects progressing to end stage. There is no form of treatment or antibiotic that has been shown to halt or reverse the effects of I5. Okay, and what's the other thing? Add. On blank 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 at the blah blah blah. Okay, so. I still remember him screaming. He was screaming at us. He was crying, "Oh God, Lieutenant, it's eating me! Oh God, I don't want to die!" I'm shouting at him to calm down. We're going to get him out of there. And then Topside tells us to abort, and they start the winches. I'm screaming at them to wait. I had his hand. I had him! Okay, I think. Check the Lord. Apologize for... Okay, the kids started talking again. Let's see. Mission time. Okay. The kids are bad. I apologize for stealing my underwear. Said you guys made him sneak into my quarters and take it from me as a dare? Why the hell did you make him do that? I mean, I don't mind if you haze the new guys, Bill, but that shit gets old. It was hard enough trying to get them to listen to me as it was. Anyway, Bill, it's all there in the log. You know what I told him, what I promised. All lies. Of course, jokes. He laughed too. Joked back. I hope he was joking. I don't know what I would have done if we'd survived. Maybe I would have gone ahead and did it. I don't know. It's all fucked up. We're all fucked up. Okay. I remember... Oh God, why could I remember this? The inside of the stomach were lined with teeth and faces. Human faces, and they were all wailing at us and screaming. They were begging us to kill them. I almost lost it there. I started opening up with my gun, started shooting them in the heads, and if I'd stayed, my suit would have melted and I'd be dead. So... we decided to wait for a bit until the thing shot its load, so to speak. If it made shit and cum, it would have had to spit it out eventually, right? Anyway, that's when things started to go bad. The kids started complaining about this awful smell. I tried to stay calm. Told him it was probably his suit's waste recyclers. Told him to let me take a look at it. Yeah, there was a hole in the back of his leg, probably from the acid. I put a patch on it and told him not to worry about it. And that's when I noticed that there were these red things growing all over his face. He started screaming when the first of them burst and splattered blood over the inside of his faceplate. He begged me to kill him. I put my gun up to his faceplate and pulled the trigger. Click. I burned all my ammo trying to shoot those damn faces. The tentacles burst out of his face a moment after that. It grabbed me and it started licking me, Bill. The thing was running its tongues all over my face and body over the suit. It grabbed me and pushed me down and tried to hump my suit like a dog, but it couldn't get through. I managed to wrestle the thing that had once been the kid back through the sphincter into the stomach. Its tentacles writhed at me as it started to melt. He smiled. Told me he loved me before he died. I screamed. You know the rest, except for one thing. My suit didn't make it intact. It was breached. No one else noticed. I didn't even notice till I was in my room and changing clothes and saw the red blotches all over my skin. So, yeah, I guess I'm fucked. I got the room on lockdown right now, but you have to get everyone else out before I go terminal. Don't bother trying to decontaminate the vessel. Just abandon the entire ship and scuttle it on top of the original site. I think the kid would like it that way. Now we can be together, just like he wanted. Thanks. Interesting. So, that about does it for this episode of Let's Read the SCP Foundation Wiki. And the next episode, let's see, we're going to be covering structural cancer, multiplying clay, the dream job, candied worms, and drain feeder. What is it with weird bugs in this, in the 800s? Weird bugs and friendly ocean creatures. What is it? In any case, if you liked it, a like and a subscribe will be groovy. If you didn't, you'll need to do either one of those things, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Later.